Thank you for coming. Thanks for tuning in. We are the Course in Miracles study group uh, at Undefined Wellness in White River Junction, Vermont, reading from A Course in Miracles, complete and annotated edition. This is the purple copy. It contains a lot of helpful teachings and considerations that were edited out of previously published copies. This one is published in 2021. And we're going to go ahead and get started with a prayer. Dear God, thank you for bringing us together today. Thank you for embodying uh, this space that we share for the purpose of learning, for the purpose of teaching and remembering the truth of love. Thank you for bestowing upon us our shared creative power and potential, the all-powerful creative mind. Thank you for this experience in which learn, we can learn and realize and recognize how powerful this creative mind of ours really is, that we can create truly, truly whatever we want. And thank you for your teachings and thank you for your guidance in helping us learn, helping us remember, and helping us better understand what it is we really want. There seems to be a sense where we have gotten confused about what we want, and um, and you are happy to remind us what we really want. What we really want being love, safety, perfect peace, and happiness, of course, but understanding where we can actually find that as opposed to seeking that out from um, sources where it will never come. It'll never come. So thank you for providing us with the teachings of A Course in Miracles. Thank you for uh, lighting the path and leading the way. And thank you for trusting us to be the light of the world and for gifting us with existence, with love, uh, and total perfect peace. Thank you. Amen. Um, Cool. Okay, we are on Miracle Principle 25, I believe. Okay. Miracle Principle 25. Great, we're on page 16 of chapter 1, Principles of Miracles. Miracle Principle 25, miracles depend on timing. Timing. Miracles depend on timing. Footnote 39. See Cameo 6. Letting him take charge of minutia. Great. Going directly to a cameo. We're going to Cameo 6. For those of you who aren't familiar with the complete and annotated version, um, those who put together the complete and annotated version also included um, stories and connections of Jesus teaching Helen and Bill uh, as they are the scribes of A Course in Miracles, as they are transcribing the Course in Miracles through Helen and writing it down and putting it all together. Jesus takes many opportunities to reinforce, to apply the miracle principles and other teachings throughout A Course in Miracles to Helen and Bill, who are putting this together, and the uh, the individuals and the community at what is it, Circle of Atonement? Yeah. When they put together this copy or this version of A Course in Miracles, they included some of these stories, understanding that they are very helpful for us to apply these teachings to our own lives. Um, yeah, so we'll get into it. Cameo 6, letting him take charge of minutia. Miracle Principle 25, miracles depend on timing, was originally guidance to Helen, in which Jesus told her that if she would let him guide her through the trivia of her life, he could save her a great deal of time, which she could then devote to its proper use, giving miracles. The specific bit of trivia in question was Helen's purchase of a winter coat. Oh, I'm gonna move this. Oh, there we go. That might be better. Can you see me better? Right here. Right here. Okay. Ken Wapnick told the story in Absence from Felicity. Absence from Felicity, I believe, is a book about Helen. Um, he said that Helen was accustomed to shopping in New York City's finer stores, yet Jesus told her to shop for the coat at Klein's, a bargain store. Wapnick said, not only did Helen find exactly the coat she wanted, but the salesman who waited on her needed Helen's help very badly. He had a retarded child and was at a loss of what to do, and Helen was able to be extremely helpful to him because Helen worked for the Shield Institute for children with disabilities, or at the time referred to as retarded children. Helen found this guidance quite threatening. This guidance, Jesus telling her, hey, I'll take care of the trivia in your life, right? Helen found this guidance quite threatening because in it, Jesus asked to be let into a very personal part of her life, one that she hardly considered trivial, her shopping. Let's look closer at this guidance. Jesus begins by saying, if you need a coat, ask to find one. I know your taste well, and I also know where the coat is that you would eventually buy anyway. Then he explains what happened regarding the coat in a shopping process that he and Helen have clearly already gone through. Jesus says, if you do not like the coat afterward, that is what would have happened anyway. I did not pick out the coat for you. So Jesus is saying that he did not pick it out. It's the coat that Helen wanted. He is just telling her where to get it, where to find it to save time, right? He says, you said you wanted something warm, inexpensive, and capable of taking rough wear. I told you you could get a Borgana, but I let you get a better one because the furrier needed you, or the salesperson needed her. Note, however, that it is better in terms of the criteria you established. I could do this because you saw the coat more that way than in terms of a particular material. You thought of Klein's yourself a few days ago and then decided against it because Borgana is price fixed. Then you remembered a coat Grace once got there that was much cheaper and seemed pretty much the same, and asked yourself whether it was really right to be sold on a particular trade name through advertising. That opened your mind. So Jesus is telling Helen, hey, Helen, you've already gone through this thought process of maybe I should get a bargain coat because it's not name brand, but what's the big difference with a name brand coat and a bargain coat anyway, right? They're basically the same. Uh, Helen is obviously unhappy with the coat she got as a result of Jesus' guidance, but he explains that it was not only inexpensive, but better than the one he originally said she could get in terms of the criteria she established. Further, she was able to use her professional expertise to render valuable help to the salesman. How could she possibly object? The likely answer will become clear as we proceed. We can see her difficulty with the fur coat guidance in the pages of dictation that follow it. First, her resistance apparently distorted some dictation she took down. Jesus says the day after that distortion, the first part of what you wrote last night is right. Check this now. And then in parentheses, it says corrected under advice. The second part was put in by you because you didn't like the first. It was an attempt to reestablish your own control over time. Remember, you cannot stand not knowing what time is. Jesus says, I am not intruding on your will, but I am trying to free it. Right? Here we get into some new definitions and some better understandings about free will and what that actually means. What that actually means. Unfortunately, it is not clear what these first and second parts are. What is clear, though, is that Helen saw Jesus controlling her use of time as such an intrusion that she wrote something down that gave control back to her, not realizing that this part was from her own subconscious, not from Jesus. The same resistance was then apparently triggered disturbing dreams once she went to bed. Helen writes, "In the morning, I remembered two indistinct dreams which upset me very badly. We only get details about the first, in which someone tells her, quote, that I have done something very poorly and that he thought that they would have to let me go, but he promised me a perfectly fair investigation." End quote. Oh, she says, "You," referring to Bill, "were assuring me it would be all right, but I was by no means sure." Jesus then comments, "Do not get bogged down in those dreams of last night. They are reflections of old learning patterns and arose because you did not like what I said about leaving minutia to me. They merely illustrate your unwillingness to not get bogged down." So she's unwilling to not get distracted, right? She wants to be distracted. She's not willing to ignore the distractions, essentially, right? Unwillingness to not get bogged down because you are afraid of the course. She's afraid of the Course in Miracles. So do not use them that way. The dreams of last night. So do not use them that way. If you are tempted to do this, ask Bill to stop you. This course is about willingness, not unwillingness. Unwillingness has to be replaced by willingness because willingness is part of readiness, without which learning cannot occur. Apparently, Helen was so resistant of the idea of leaving minutia to Jesus that this triggered upsetting dreams that night. These dreams came, Jesus implies, so that she could get bogged down in them, thus nicely diverting her attention from Jesus's uncomfortable teaching. Yet, he says, she can choose to not use these dreams as the diversions her subconscious had intended them to be. A bit later, Helen writes something down that seems to be her paraphrasing of further guidance about not getting bogged down. The key, she says, is, quote, leave everything to him, my feelings, Gary, art, etc., all of which I can simply refer to him and not get bogged down. This is the real secret of not wasting energy. After this, Helen says, I asked him, referring to Jesus, to stay with my unconscious while I slept, and just passed out. The fur coat guidance then ended up sparking massive resistance in Helen. This resistance caused her to blame Jesus for her dissatisfaction with the coat she got, even though it exceeded her expectations or her specifications. It caused her to take down false guidance that gave her back control. And it caused her to unconsciously stage a diversion in the form of upsetting dreams. She perceived letting Jesus direct the minutiae as an intrusion on her free will. He countered this by saying that he was trying to free her will by keeping it from getting bogged down in the trivia of daily life. His help could actually speed her through that trivia so that she could release her will to do what it was meant to do, give miracles. And this, he said, was what she was really afraid of. She wanted to get bogged down in trivia. She wanted to be upset and to waste her time and energy so that she had nothing left over for miracles. But that meant keeping her true will in prison. In light of all of this, it is interesting to note that Helen did not dictate any of this guidance to Bill to be typed into the text. This includes everything under Miracle Principle 25 and everything recounted in this cameo. None of it left her notebooks. So not only is she recognizing not only is this cameo acknowledging and recognizing the some of the error in dictation because of her frustration or because of her projections, but also she was upset enough about this concept of leaving the minutia to Jesus that she didn't even share for it to be included in the Course in Miracles, right? She really was so resistant to this idea of Jesus helping with the trivia of life as if it would negatively interfere with her free will, right? Um, that she just wanted to leave it all out, which is really interesting,
Yeah.
really interesting. Super fun. Totally perfect, totally fine, right? But I'm definitely, this is one of my favorite sections in these principles of miracles. I find it to be incredibly helpful. And so I'm really grateful for this um, iteration, this copy, this version of A Course in Miracles that contains this material. Contains this material. Great, great. Miracles depend on timing. Now we're back on page 16. Miracles depend on timing. This is why you shouldn't waste time. Shouldn't waste time. And again, we've already learned in previous principles, principle number 15, time is a teaching device and a means to an end. Time was made so you could use it creatively and convince yourself of your ability to create, right? Since only eternity is real, why not use the illusion of time constructively? Right? So we're recognizing that time is here for learning. If we're using time for the purpose it exists, right? We are using it for learning and for healing the mind, right? It's the best use of time. Similarly, in Miracle Principle 21, we talked about how God has given us this awareness of what tools are going to work for what projects, right? What level is going to, if we're confusing the levels and using the wrong tool to solve a problem on a different level, right? Like using like a children's toy plastic hammer to build a real house, right? We're going to feel frustrated. We're going to have an awareness that the children's toy is not going to be able to build the real house, right? And Jesus teaches us that this awareness we have of I'm using the wrong tool for the job, uh, is a built-in check. It helps us so that we're able to use time effectively, so that we're actually able to catch ourselves when we're wasting time by trying to build a real house with children's tools, right? Um, so that we're able to use things, so we're able to use time usefully. So we have a sense, we have a greater understanding of the purpose of time, right? And now we're understanding miracles depend on timing, and this is giving us another reason why we shouldn't waste time, right? It's because miracles depend on timing. Jesus writes, I told you before that time would cease when it was no longer useful as a learning aid. Footnote 40, and this is a reference to the text. It will cease when it is no longer useful in facilitating learning. There is a way of speeding you up, and that is by leaving more and more time for me so that you can devote it to miracles. So Jesus is saying that we are literally speeding up the more time we devote to miracles. That's the purpose of time, right? Miracles are here for our learning. Miracles will also cease once we no longer need them to learn.
This is interesting, and that is by leaving more and more time for me.
Yeah, for Jesus to essentially help us, use us, right? To perform miracles through us, right? And more time for me, the way that I recognize this too is more and more time for Jesus and also recognizing Christ in each other. Because that's truly what a miracle is doing, is recognizing the perfect Son of God in each other, right? So it's not necessarily leaving more and more time for Jesus as a character, as a specific individual, as if Jesus is separate from us, right? But understanding we are one,
Yeah.
right? Miracles depend on timing. This is why you shouldn't waste time. I told you before that time would cease when it was no longer useful as a learning aid. There is a way of speeding you up, and that is by leaving more and more time for me so you can devote it to miracles. Will you put one of these pillows on the ground for the puppy? Yeah, there you go. Oh, thank you. Okay. Jesus says, the reason I direct everything that is unimportant is because it is no way to waste your free will. Great. It's no way to waste your free will. If you insist on doing the trivial your way, you waste too much time and will on it. You're wasting too much time and will here could be better understood as like willpower,
Yeah.
right? You're willing to do this. Um, but again, it's kind of a waste, right? Your creative power and ability has so much greater potential, right? That you are wasting it on doing trivial things. Will cannot be free if it is tied up in trivia. Tied up in trivia. It never gets out. I mean, think about this. You could be doing trivial tasks all day, every day, and very easily justify spending no time on learning, teaching, sharing miracles, etc. You'd be like, "Oh, I'm too busy for all of that.
Yeah.
I'm so busy. I don't have time for that." Right? So Jesus is saying that he will direct everything that is unimportant, all of the trivial matters we don't have to worry about. Bedtime. Thank you. Will cannot be free if it's tied up in trivia. That's great. It never gets out. Jesus says, I will tell you exactly what to do in connection with everything that does not matter. Everything that does not matter. That is not an area where choice should be invested. There is a better use of time. Everything that does not matter, choice should be invested. So what we're talking about here when he's mentioning choice is we're understanding um, if you have an apple and an orange, right? You could spend all your time choosing between the apple and the orange. But if neither of them are real, there's no choice. You're choosing between one not real thing and the other not real thing. You're just choosing something not real, right? So this is where we're really understanding you could be wasting a lot of time on choosing, on choice, right? Between two options where no difference between them actually exists, right? So this is some of the clarity that Jesus is bringing in is he's saying, he's like, I'll just tell you exactly what to do in regards to the meaningless stuff, in regards to the things that don't matter, right?
Yeah.
This is not an area where choice should be invested, right? The only choice that we're actually making is between love and fear. That is the better use of our time, right? Choosing between love and fear.
Yeah, I've started to really apply this to my life, asking what should I do? What job should I do? You know,
Oh
should I
yeah.
do this? Should I do that? Instead of like falling upon my own ego's decisions or viewpoint or remembering how I used to do things years ago. So like, let's try a different path and ask God, Jesus, hey, what do you think?
Yeah,
Should I do this or it's a waste of time?
right.
And just a simple prayer
Yeah,
and you get the answer.
great.
So you
That's
don't waste
awesome.
time.
Yeah, totally.
It works good. I
It
like it.
does, yeah. I noticed that too. I
Mhm.
noticed that too. And for me, the way this is showing up is like just total surrender. I might have an idea of some sort of plan, but it doesn't last long, right? eventually I'm like, oh, that was the aspects of it were a waste of time. They were completely unimportant, right? And yet some of the other things that I thought when I made the plan were like, oh, back burner, not that important, now are much more important, you know? And given kind of a higher priority and that sort of thing. So it's interesting. It's interesting when you put the again meaningless or like the choices that don't really matter into the hands of the one who knows exactly the perfect route to waste the least amount of time. It just saves so much energy. This is similar to how people like Steve Jobs, for example, or any of these folks wear a uniform every day. They wear the same thing every day to like reduce decision fatigue.
Yeah.
This is like the same idea, right? This is the same idea, right? We are reducing decision fatigue on all of the meaningless stuff, right? You just don't have to make any of those decisions anymore. And thank you. Thank you. Bedtime. Come here. Yes. Oh, that's your pillow. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, you're very good. Great. Let's continue. Jesus says, you have to remember to ask me to take charge of all minutia, and they will be taken care of so well and so quickly that you cannot get bogged down in them. Jesus is saying, I'm going to take care of these things so well and so quickly, you can't even use them to distract yourself. Like you like won't be able to um like convince yourself that it's a good use of your time because I've already done them. I've already done it. The only remaining problem is that you will be unwilling to ask because you are afraid to not get bogged down. This is what we noticed with Helen, right? Helen wanted on a subconscious level to get bogged down in minutia
Yeah.
to make it so she had less time to work on the course, right? She wanted all of these distractions to come up and all of these wastes of time to exist so that she didn't have enough time or didn't have more time to spend on this. It's interesting.
And all you have to do is just ask. That's
Right. And Jesus is saying, hey, if you ask, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Like, but way better than you can.
Yeah.
Way faster. You know, it's going to be literally exactly what you want, totally perfect. Just ask me to handle it and I'll do it. Right. And he's saying the only problem here is that you will be unwilling to ask because you subconsciously or not subconsciously, right, want to be bogged down. You want to be distracted so that you have a justification for not spending time on miracles.
Because of fear.
Yeah. Do not let this hold us back. If you will ask, I will arrange these things, even if you're not too enthusiastic. That's so funny. Um, Even if you're not too enthusiastic. He said, I am not intruding on your will, but I am trying to free it. That's great. So that we can actually use it. And if you think about this in terms of the dream that we're experiencing now, I know that for me, when I have a lot of trivial tasks, bureaucratic shenanigans, things that feel obligatory and mandatory and all of these things, I get frustrated by them because I feel that those things are preventing me from doing what I really want to do.
Yeah.
Those things are cumbersome and annoying and a pain in the ass, and I don't want to do them, right?
Yeah.
They feel trivial and meaningless. Um, and
Yeah. I get the same feeling, empty.
yeah,
It's like
pointless. What's the point?
You know?
Yeah,
It's like, okay, you're putting all this energy, all this thought, all this, concentration into this thing that just, it's a loop.
Right.
It's just a loop.
It's just gonna keep, you're just gonna keep spending time on it and
Yeah.
it's gonna keep distracting. And there's always another task to do.
Yeah,
If you want to focus on meaningless, trivial tasks, you can be doing that your whole life. You could get a job where all you do for 40 hours a week is meaningless, trivial tasks,
yeah.
right?
And then there's things like, inflation, whatever. So you work hard, you work hard, you work hard. Then suddenly your money becomes half the value, or like double the value. It's like, what? You know? What? What? So like that chunk of time just disappears out of nowhere. You know.
Mm,
Now, if you decide to put time into those like
trivial task.
trivial things or like the physical things, right? It's like,
Sure.
oh, that's all my time, and then just suddenly a law comes up and it changes everything. It's like poof, all that
Right.
time, where'd it go? I
Interesting.
mean, it didn't go anywhere. You always
Right.
have eternity, but
Right.
it makes you feel like you've wasted a lot of time.
Yeah. I think that's taking it on a very surface level, right? Like that particular analogy. Because that time you can't it doesn't matter what job you're doing, right? You can still be using that time for miracles,
Yeah, no,
right? And using all of that time for learning and
yeah,
that sort of thing. So time doesn't have to be wasted in that sense. Um, I think the teaching in this section is that we are choosing to be distracted, right? If you're choosing to be distracted by trivial tasks or focusing, I think on what you're trying to say is like a trivial job, right? Like
yeah.
if you're really focused on a trivial job
If you only focus on those things,
and
because
use them as a distraction,
yeah,
right?
because you can still do all those things, but your focus is somewhere else, somewhere like in miracles, in love, in something eternal,
Right.
where that stuff is temporary.
Right.
You're not going to be working that job forever. It's just from,
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
yeah, it's limited.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we don't have to worry. I think it's important to bring truth to this idea that, oh, inflation and then the effectiveness of your dollar because of the work you did, and then it feels like you just wasted a bunch of time. That's a very surface level, that's a very like ego perspective of talking about wasting time. That's a very shallow perspective of looking at wasting time. Does that make sense? We're not really concerned about inflation or the value of a dollar or how much physical time you're spending working for the dollar. And then where does that dollar get you? And now it feels like you wasted time because, you don't have as much money for all the time you put in. Um, I think that's the ego trying to take the idea of wasting time and putting it into kind of a surface level concept. Does that make sense? Like it's like what we were talking about the other day, where it's like if we're going to bring something to the truth, let's bring it all the way to the truth. Um, I don't know if that makes sense or not.
yeah, I'm not sure. Like, yeah, what I was thinking is that if somebody focuses all their energy and thoughts into just the things of surviving the dream,
Yeah,
it's a waste of time because that's not our goal, is to survive the dream. Is we come down here in the dream to learn,
right.
or to remember, or to in a way maybe evolve,
Totally.
with
Totally. To see ourselves
yeah,
clearly.
with
Yeah,
everlasting truths,
right.
where if you just come down here in this dream, the human dream, to focus on, work, money, getting a house, getting this, getting that, and you don't do all the other stuff, for me, in my mind, it feels like a waste of time, because at
Right.
the end, when like the dream ends, and you're not here anymore in the dream, what have you accomplished?
Right.
Nothing really,
Right.
so that's
Well,
what I'm
and
trying to
yeah,
accomplish.
totally. I hear you now. Thanks for clarifying. I think it's especially cool taking that into concept or into consideration because Jesus is saying, I'll take care of all of the dumb stuff for you.
You can,
Like I'll take care of all of the trivial tasks. And I've noticed this in my life where like my housing is provided for me. I like for years, I have always had perfect housing right at the perfect time, right? For the next chapter of life, for the next thing. It's always come in right at the perfect time, and it's always been exactly what I need, right? No matter what seems to be happening with work, with this, with that, or whatever, I've always had exactly the amount of money that I need for years of living in surrender, and living in total trust and total free fall, with God, of just like, you got me. And occasionally ego thoughts of fear will come up around this.
yeah,
Um, and then the proof comes up again. And I say, oh, there it is. There's the evidence that I am perfectly sustained by the love of God,
yeah,
right? Um, and even now, it seems to be like stuff about my business or whatever. And I noticed myself getting bogged down in a lot of trivia, a lot of paperwork, and this, that, and the other thing. And I talked to Jesus and I said, hey, can you do this? Like, I was like, hey, I notice I'm spending more time on these bureaucratic shenanigans, and even just overthinking and getting stressed out about it and how much time it's taking and this, that, and the other thing. I was like, can you just move these things forward on my behalf? Sure, no problem.
yeah.
Oh, of course, I'd love
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Yeah, you can sit and read. Yeah,
Yeah.
go read a book. Go read the book. Um, it's really incredible.
Yeah.
It's like it's helping better understand the best use of time and what God's will for our use of time is, right? That's the other big thing is understanding that we want to use time wisely, and we need to learn what that looks like, right? We didn't understand that again because in this dream we've been taught or communicated to this is the best use of your time. You have to do this, that, and the other thing. X, Y, and Z is going to be the best use of your time. Go to college, have a family, get a house, get the career. All of these things are the best use of your time. And then you realize it's not at all true.
Yeah, where did it get you?
Yeah,
Just surviving,
right.
in your
Totally.
dream.
If that.
But then, like, when you
Because you're
actually use it,
constantly, yeah,
you don't take any of that with you.
right. So we're really just learning what's the best use of our time. And
Mhm.
we're being gently guided, gently taught, gently corrected towards understanding the best use of our time is learning, seeing clearly, sharing miracles, and healing the mind,
Yeah,
right? Like this is the best use of our time, right? Yay!
it's good.
I love it. I love it. And it feels great.
Yeah.
Like I feel so much lighter,
Yes.
so
Like a
much
big
lighter.
backpack. Like,
Yeah.
here, we carry
And
this.
it's not like it does not in any way feel or look like shirking responsibilities. It's like, oh, someone is far more capable of this task. Great. I'm there and they want to do it. They want to help with this task. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
They're happy.
They're happy to help with this task, and it takes them like no effort and no energy, no time. It's just so effortless and easy for them, whereas it would take me so much of my energy. It would distract me so much from what I want to be doing, right? Which is the will of God.
Yeah. Yeah. And all you have to do is just
All you have to do is
yeah,
ask.
help me with the minute things.
Yeah,
The minutia.
help me with the minutia.
Yeah. Please and thank you. Done.
Done.
Simple as that. This is good.
Nice. So we're on paragraph 5, page 17. Prayer can be very specific in little matters. If you need a coat, for example, ask me where to find one. I know your taste well, and I also know where the coat is that you would eventually buy anyway. If you do not like the coat afterward, that is what would have happened anyway. So Jesus is basically just saying, I'll help you get the coat that you would have picked out. Like, we'll just save time where instead of you shopping around and going here and going there and eventually picking out a coat, I will just direct you to the exact coat that you already want that you would buy anyway, right? We'll save time that way. Paragraph 6. I cannot save you more time than you will let me. But if you are willing to try the higher shopping service, which also covers all lower order necessities and even quite a number of whims within reason, I have very good use for the time that we could save. So he's saying, even if you want to go shopping for dumb shit, like even if you want to go, even if you're like, oh, I just want to, oh, for fun, he'll still direct you to what you would end up buying, right? And that is still saving time. That's still saving time. And this doesn't, he's using the example of shopping, but this applies to all things, just across the board. Paragraph 7. Thank you. Thank you. All done. One. Hey, what's going on today, huh? Are you stressed about something? Oh yeah, I'm projecting that my dog is stressed. Bedtime. Now, you can lay next to me. Thank you. It's bedtime. Thank you. Remember, the specific answer you get depends on the specific question you ask. The fewer limits you impose, the better answer you'll get. For example, you could ask, where can I find a particular brand of coat? Or, where is the coat I want? Or, where is the coat I should get? And so on. The form of the thought determines the level of answer. This is the second time Jesus. Oh, actually, I don't know that. This is tough because um I mix up where we are in the text. Jesus Jesus talks about this several times. I can confidently say that. Understanding the form of thought determines the level of answer. The specificity of your communication in prayer is going to determine the answer that you receive, right? The answer you receive or the communication that is returned to you. The form of the thought determines the level of the answer. So if you're really clear and you're like, where is the exact code that I should get, right? Or the exact code that I want to get, versus, uh, where can I find this kind of coat? Where can I find that kind of coat? You're going to get a very broad answer as opposed to the specific answer, um,
Yeah,
is going to save more time,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah, I've noticed it's very important to be specific in the questions and in prayer.
Yeah.
Because if you're very general, then you're going to get a general answer.
Right. And it's just going to be a little bit less helpful.
Yeah.
It just may be a little bit less helpful. When I would read tarot cards for my friends, which I would still do if anybody's interested. I would always ask, what does this person want or need to know? What does this person need to know now?
Yeah.
And then it would be a whole spread and all of this information and all of this clarity and guidance and whatever would come through, right? But that was always the question I asked. It wasn't, what about this situation? What about that thing? What about this thing? What about, what's going to happen in the future? What happened in the past? Like, not interested in that. The only question that I would ask was, what does this person need to know? And it was perfect. Let's continue. Thank you, Bara, for the Opportunity to be triggered. Yay! Yay! Oh, are you talking about me? What? Paragraph 8. Do not get bogged down in distractions if they now arise. They are reflections of old learning patterns and arise because you do not like what I have said about leaving minutia to me. They merely illustrate your unwillingness to not get bogged down because you are afraid of the course. What he's saying here, this idea of being afraid of the course is understanding that we are afraid of the depth of learning that is being asked of us, right? The Course in Miracles is asking us to change our mind. The ego does not want to change the mind, right?
Yeah,
The ego will always say, like, no, everything's fine. We'll just keep on doing what we're doing. Thank you. It's bedtime. Yep, it really is.
which is funny because it's the ego that makes
There you go.
any feeling of uncomfortable. Um,
Any feeling of discomfort,
yeah, discomfort.
right?
Where when you just operate with that love, with that guidance, it feels good. It
Right.
feels so relaxed and like happy.
Yeah. Just naturally peaceful.
Yeah.
Naturally peaceful. Yeah, the ego loves spirituality where we don't really have to dig in. It loves spirituality where we can dip our toes in, not really have to change anything about ourselves, not really change our minds at all. The Course in Miracles is specifically designed for us to change our mind, right? It is a mind training course. This is what's going on?
Seems to be close to you, bro.
What's going on?
It wants to be a video. But
So don't use them that way. Jesus is like, uh, your unwillingness to not get bogged down because you're afraid of the course, right? So Jesus is saying the minutia, right? The minutia and these distractions that are coming up and all of these things, we can use as distractions. We can use to get bogged down in them. And Jesus is saying, just don't. It's a choice. It's a choice, right? How you spend your time is a choice, right? And when the with the options able to be presented, right? Where it's like, hey, waste your time or stop wasting your time and use it on what you actually want to do. What's the obvious choice here? There's an obvious option, right?
yeah,
It's like recognizing the choice between heaven and hell. Once you recognize that that's the choice you're making, the answer is obvious.
yeah.
The answer is obvious. The answer is obvious. So don't use them that way. This course is about willingness, not unwillingness. Unwillingness has to be replaced by willingness because willingness is part of readiness, without which learning cannot occur. Without which learning cannot occur. Throughout the workbook, which provides daily um, we'll say mind training practices, um, we really see that willingness is one of the biggest things that we can contribute, if not the most important thing that we can contribute for learning is willingness. Willingness. I'm willing to see clearly, right? I am willing to see clearly. Above all else, I am willing.
Because if you're not, it feels like you're just stuck in that same class,
Oh
you
yeah.
know? And then like you pass the test and you have to repeat it all over again. Eventually you
Right.
get tired of that. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, what other
Where's the
lesson?
depth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to see differently. I think the other thing we talked about recently was understanding that it's not really about time. People say, oh, it takes time. Oh, time, with time, you'll heal. With time, this, with time, that. It's like it's not really about time. You could have the same amount of time and nothing could be different, right? All that it takes to see clearly is willingness. All that it takes to heal is willingness to heal, right? Time has no effect. Time is totally neutral, totally meaningless, right? It's an illusion of time, right? How you use time is what seems to have an effect. Are you willing to use time for learning and for truly healing, right? Or is time just going to pass you by, so to speak, without you using it for those things, right? And we might have an illusion too of willingness increasing over time, right? Time as if time is distance from an event. More time passes, you're further away from the event that occurred, right? Um, and all of a sudden now, because you seem to have distantiated or distanced yourself from that event using time, all of a sudden you're willing to heal, right? You can choose at any time. You can be willing to heal at any time, right? Um, we're not really saying like, oh, we need time to pass for X, Y, and Z. We're recognizing it requires willingness. All that's required is willingness. Great. Where are we in this part of the dream? Nice. Miracle Principle 26. A miracle rearranges the order of perception and places the levels in their true perspective. This heals at all levels because all sickness comes from confusing the levels. So these levels are also referring to the previous miracle principle 21, right? Jesus is helping us understand. Um, I'm on paragraph 3 here. The orders of reality, right? And then if we go down to footnote 20, we're understanding the difference between the spiritual level and the physical level, right? So we've already had a brief introduction to these levels of reality, right? So then we're going back to miracle principle 26. A miracle rearranges the order of perception and places the levels, for example, the spiritual level and the physical level, in their true perspective. This heals at all levels. This heals at both levels because all sickness comes from confusing the levels, right? So this is similar to how we were talking about using children's toys to build a real house, right? You're using a toy, for example, on the physical level to try and work on a spiritual task, right? The illustration that the course uses is if you are trying to use prayer to sustain the body, right? Or if you are trying to use bread to help build your connection with God, right? Um, these are examples of confusing the levels, right? Thinking that the means of one level are going to get you uh, higher up on the next level, however that works, right? So, uh, the way that sickness comes from confusing the levels is understanding the difference between body identification and spirit identification. So we'll dive into that more. A miracle rearranges the order of perception and places the levels in their true perspective. This heals at all levels because all sickness comes from confusing the levels. Footnote 42. This principle immediately followed and seems to be an expansion on the corrected version of principle 21. Nice. Great. Quote, a miracle reawakens the awareness that the spirit, not the body, is the altar of truth. This means that the levels here would be that of the body and the spirit. Paragraph 2. The reason for your difficulty with this is not that you doubt or distantiate or cannot believe. It is more a reaction formation against a pull which you recognize is so intense that you are afraid. We have a couple footnotes in here. The reason for your difficulty with this is not that you doubt or distantiate or cannot believe. Footnote 43. Distantiation or distanciation is a psychological defense mechanism in which you mentally distance yourself from something, especially a source of threat. It is a stance of aloofness, estrangement, and alienation, the opposite of engagement, intimacy, and identification. So Jesus is saying, you might have trouble with this, but it's not because you doubt it or distance yourself from it or cannot believe it. It's like that's not why you're having difficulty with this. He says it is more of a reaction formation against a pull which you recognize is so intense that you are afraid. You think you'll be uprooted. What this is referring to is understanding that we are so attracted, so strongly pulled and attracted to the love of God, and so strongly pulled and attracted to truth that we are worried that it will literally uproot us, that it will literally pull us out of our lives completely, right? Um, and in a lot of ways, it will.
I don't For me, it's evolving.
Totally. But the ego hates this idea. The ego is like, no, no, no. We need these certain things this way in our life, the way they are, like this or like that. We can't be, right? Again, the ego likes to dip its toes in things.
Yeah.
The ego is not interested in a spirituality that may uproot it,
Yeah.
right? You think you'll be uprooted. And again, it's this pull is so strong, right? That we're afraid of it, right? We want to go and run and jump in, and we're like, whoa, why am I so attracted to this thing? You know?
Yeah.
There's a footnote here, 44. Reaction formation is a Freudian defense mechanism in which you mask an anxiety-producing emotion or impulse by exaggerating the exact opposite tendency. For example, you might devote yourself to extreme altruism in order to mask underlying selfishness, right? So in the above passage, we adopt a pose of standing aloof from the teaching under consideration in a state of doubt and disbelief in order to mask what we are really feeling, an underlying pull towards the spirit, the intensity of which frightens us. So we're basically, Jesus is pointing out to us that we feel so drawn to this thing that our response is to simply like, nope, not interested. And to stand aloof from it, right? To stand at a distance from it, to um, kind of push it away. Our desire is to push it away because we feel so strongly drawn to it. Just hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's okay. You think you'll be uprooted. Paragraph 3. Lord, heal me is the only legitimate prayer. This also means, Lord, atone for me, right? Or Lord, undo this for me. Because the only thing you should pray for is forgiveness. You have everything else. And remember, we're re-understanding forgiveness as understanding nothing need be forgiven. everything is totally perfect, right? So when we're praying for forgiveness, we're essentially saying, help me see that I am forgiven.
Yeah.
Help me see my innocence.
Or it's, this just came to my mind. Forgive me that I once judged myself,
That's great.
right? Something
Yeah,
like that.
sure. Forgive me from the guilt that I have assigned myself, right? We're forgiving the belief in the illusion is
Yeah.
really what we're doing, right? We're forgiving the belief in the illusion. There's another footnote in here. Lord, heal me is the only legitimate prayer. Footnote 45. Psalm 6:2. Be gracious to me, O Lord, for I am languishing. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are troubled. Jeremiah 17:14. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for thou art my praise. The only thing you should pray for. So Jesus is saying, Lord, heal me,
Yeah.
right? This also means, Lord, atone for me. And we're understanding the atonement is the undoing of belief in the illusion. Atone means to undo, to set at one, right? So we're regressing back to our true state as one with God, perfect sons of God, right? Back to who we truly are outside of the seeming effects of the belief in the illusion and the belief in separation. Lord, heal me also means Lord, atone for me. What is really receiving healing is the mind, right? The body doesn't need healing. The body doesn't exist, right? The mind is the only thing that needs healing. The spirit doesn't need healing, right? Only thing that needs healing is the mind, right? So when we're saying, Lord, heal me, the fact that this also means, Lord, atone for me, we're saying, Lord, help me undo my belief in separation, right? That is causing me suffering. Help me undo, help me undo this belief in the lie, in the illusion, this belief in the illusion. Undo it for me. Help me see, show me, right?
Yeah.
The only thing you should pray for is forgiveness. AKA, the only thing you should pray for is seeing clearly that nothing need be forgiven, that there is no guilt or shame for yourself or anyone else, which is just yourself, as we are one, right? The only thing you should pray for is forgiveness because you have everything else.
Like forgiving yourself.
Totally. See that there is no guilt, right? Lord, heal me. Help me see there is no guilt anywhere. Anywhere. You have everything else. And when you see that you are forgiven, you will see that you have everything. When you see that you are not guilty, you will see that you have every gift of God bestowed upon you. It is only the illusion of guilt that would lead you to believe that you do not have everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's the block. Yeah.
Paragraph 4. Now take this personally and listen to divine logic. Jesus is saying, like, really let this sink in. This is good stuff. Take this personally, which is the opposite of what the ego wants to do. Again, the ego
Yeah.
wants to entertain these things on a very surface level. Jesus is saying, no, this is personal, right? Listen to divine logic. If, when you have been forgiven and you have everything else, and you have been forgiven, then you have everything else. If when you have been forgiven, you have everything else, and you have been forgiven, right? Innocence is restored to you, then you have everything else. This happens to be the simplest of all propositions. If P, then Q. P, therefore Q.
This I don't understand, but it's for another mind.
I think this is, I mean, it's very simple. It's basically saying if this, then that,
Yeah.
right? Like if P is true, then
Yeah.
Q is true. P is true, therefore Q is true. right?
Yeah.
So it's like the most simple proposition that you can make. It's the most simple understanding that you could come to. If when you have been forgiven, you have everything else, and you have been forgiven, then you have everything else, right? Basically saying since you have been forgiven, there is no way you don't have everything else,
Yeah.
right? Number five, paragraph number five on page 19. Your real question is P true? P here is you have been forgiven. So Jesus is saying, your real question is, have I been forgiven? Is my innocence actually restored to me? Or am I guilty? That's the real question, right? Jesus is saying, your real question is, am I guilty? Right? Am I still guilty? Has my innocence been restored to me? Jesus writes, if you will review the evidence, I think you will find this inescapably true, that you have been forgiven. He says, I went on very personal record to this effect, and I am the only completely true witness for God. You have every right to examine my credentials. In fact, I urge you to do so. It may have been years since you have read the Bible. This is funny. So he's kind of joking around.
Yeah.
He's like, have you been forgiven? No shit, Sherlock. Like, duh, you know? Duh, you've been forgiven. But he's playing around. He's having fun with it, you know.
Yeah.
Keeps it lighthearted, you know.
Yeah. Very kind, very patient.
Yeah. Paragraph 6. The purpose of the atonement is to restore everything to you. That is, restore your awareness of everything, right? Because again, just like in the first pages of the text, in the introduction to the text, we're recognizing uh, love cannot be blocked, right? The only thing that can be blocked is your awareness of love, your awareness to love, right? So here we're recognizing, again, if we're looking at the previous page, you have everything else. You have everything, right? You're just not aware of it. You're just not aware of it. And in seeing clearly that you are forgiven, you become aware that you have everything. If you see clearly that you are not guilty, that this illusion of guilt has no power, that this illusion of guilt is nothing, right? You see clearly that you have everything. You see clearly that there is no lack anywhere, right? You had everything when you were created, just as everyone did. Having been restored to this original state, right? Again, that's what atonement is. Atonement is undoing the belief in the illusion or setting back at one, right? Returning back to our original state, right? That's really what we're doing by removing our belief in the lie of separation and by removing our belief in guilt. We are going back to our original state,
Yeah.
right? We are returned to our wholeness, to our innocence, to our perfection, to our perfect loveliness as sons of God, right? Having been restored to this original state, you naturally become part of the atonement yourself. You are part of the undoing of the lie of separation. As you have been restored to your original state, you are part of the undoing of separation. You now share my inability to tolerate lack of love in yourself and in everyone else. To tolerate here is used very lightly, right? It's not like how the ego may understand, like, oh, inability to tolerate, I can't tolerate it, right?
Yeah.
It's just understanding, oh, you seem to see a lack of love. You're like, great, let's fill it with love.
Yeah,
You can't you can't let a lack of love go unfilled with love. Does
yeah,
that make sense?
yeah,
Like you see a lack of love, you can't like you don't want to do anything else except pour love into it.
yeah, because it is our nature to do that, to see if like, oh, something is lacking love, let me freely
Let
give
me
it to you.
freely give
Yeah,
it love.
yeah.
Let me freely fill this with love.
It's just, it's natural and it feels great.
Totally.
It's not draining, it's not
Nothing like that.
exhausting, it's
Yeah,
just perfect.
totally.
Yeah.
You now share my inability to tolerate lack of love in yourself and in everyone else. So anytime you see lack of love, you fill it. And must join the great crusade to correct it. Again, we're correcting the illusion of lack. The slogan for this crusade is listen, learn, and do.
This crusade.
The great crusade to correct the illusion of lack of love. Listen to my voice. Learn to undo the error. Again, the error is in perception. So we're undoing the error in perception, aka we are learning to see clearly. Do something to correct it. Do something to correct it. Fill it with love,
Yeah,
right?
and if
Do
you don't know
something
how
to
to,
correct it.
just ask.
Yeah, totally. The first two, listen to my voice, learn to undo the error, or learn to see clearly, are not enough. The first two are not enough. The real members of my party are active workers. Active workers. The power to work miracles belongs to you. It is your power, right? It's not something outside of you. It belongs to you. It is entirely yours. Jesus says, I will arrange the right opportunities for you to do them. But you must be ready and willing to do them since you are already able to. Readiness and willingness are up to you, right? So we're understanding we're already able to do them. So we're not lacking in ability, right? The only thing that might be lacking is our willingness to do them,
Yeah,
right?
take that step.
Take that step, willingness and readiness to do them. Doing them will bring conviction in the ability. So if you're willing to do them, you're going to do them because you are able to do them even if you don't believe that you're able to do them, right? Doing them brings conviction in your ability. And conviction is, we looked this up last time, something like a strongly held belief,
Yeah,
right?
and yeah,
You're
you're
capable.
convinced, you know?
Yeah, you're convinced,
Yeah,
right? So Jesus is saying you must be ready and willing to do them since you are already able to, right? You're already able to do them. So all you need to do
do
is
it.
be willing and ready to do them. He's like, I'll set everything up. I will orchestrate everything for you to do them because you're already able to do them, right? And in doing them, in being willing to do them, I'll orchestrate everything and you just have to do them. You will be convinced of your ability to do them.
Yeah, so true.
You'll be convinced of your ability to do them. I repeat, quote, you will see miracles through your hands, through mine, end quote. This is a footnote 46. This is a variation on the opening line of chapter 1. You will see miracles through your hands, through me. Conviction really comes through accomplishment. Remember that ability is the potential, achievement is the expression, and atonement is the purpose. This is great. I love this. I love this so much. Atonement is the purpose. We're going to go through this sentence in reverse. Atonement is the purpose. Undoing the lie of separation is the purpose, right? Undoing the belief in separation is the purpose, right? Ability, our ability to do miracles, right? The power to work miracles belongs to you. It is your ability. You have the ability to perform miracles. This ability that you have is the potential, right? Again, Jesus is saying if you're not willing or ready to do miracles, basically, if you're not willing to do miracles, that potential is wasted. If you're not willing to use your time for the purpose of miracles, the potential of your ability and the potential of that time being used for learning for its true purpose is wasted, right? So the ability is just the potential, right? Achievement is its expression. Now you're expressing the potential, right? By performing miracles, by sharing miracles. And atonement is the purpose. Atonement is the reason why we're doing it, right? And as you see yourself as you are, having been restored to this original state, you naturally become part of the atonement yourself. As you see yourself in your original state as guiltless, right?
Yeah.
You yourself become part of the atonement, part of the great crusade, as Jesus puts it, right? To undo this belief in the illusion of lack of love, right?
It reminds me of a scripture in the Bible. I don't remember where it is, but talks about that when you do the works, then like the faith, the faith like is strengthened,
Yeah,
and it's like, oh,
because
you see it.
you see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You see the love that you're sharing clearly, right? You see clearly that you are love, right? And again, the act of doing miracles, right, um, benefits the giver and the receiver. So in sharing miracles, you are receiving that truth for yourself as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. Because we're one connected.
Totally. Yay! That's where we're going to stop today. So next time we'll pick up on Miracle Principle 27. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining or watching via the internet, if that is what you're doing. We will be back here next Thursday at 6 p.m. At Undefined Wellness below the Main Street Museum in White River Junction, Vermont. And yay, thanks for your willingness. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you.
Love
Bye.
you.